LSC Chair's report. What I have to report is that our chairperson is having some personal problems, and she couldn't make it today. And she has her kids very ill, so we decided that we don't want to go into it too much because it's personal, and we respect everybody's personal thing. So based on that, she probably won't be in our next meeting, but I'm just speaking up front so we could know what's going on. Other than that, we're going to move on to the other reports. Teachers report.
Well, we had since the last meeting, we had the break. So that was nice. Break. Before the break on the last day, we had a talent show towards the end of the day. Then there was a talent show in the evening as well. From my view, at the back of the auditorium, it seemed successful to me. It seemed fun and interesting. I know, talking with Ms. Dunne, if it was up to us, we would have had a talent show day. Since there was attendance was sort of low and grades were already in, do it every period once you wait. That would have been extra nice. But and then we had the door decorating as we do every year for several years, and that's always positive and well received and very tactile for students that enjoy that. And we're happy to be back in Great the Elegance, and that's the. As usual, have an interesting teacher report.
Thank you. Ms. Dunne? Oh, you don't want to? Okay. All right. Staff report, Mr. Rolando Rodriguez.
So I didn't get to speak of it much at all in November, but so in November we had a esports tournament here. We hosted over 9 schools on Saturday. It was for Super Smash Brothers. We hosted it here. The kids were fed through CS First. They took care of them. I mean, we had a big turnout. We had over 140 people here. And it was just probably one of the most exciting things that happened here that month. I was part of the kind of show we helped out set up. So it was very successful with all the hands that were there, all the admin that helped, all the teachers that helped. Yeah, I mean, the kids, they showed out. I mean, if you guys were able to attend the 5:30 show as well, it was just as great as the 8 period one. I mean, I definitely, if you guys can try to make it to the next one, it should be in the spring or towards the end of the school year. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Athletic director report.
Started texting a parent who's trying to get into the game. Hi, good evening, everybody. So just a bunch of updates. Winter sports are clearly in effect. We have boys and girls basketball, girls bowling. Boys bowling has finished. I'll get to that in a second. And next week, indoor track and field will be beginning. So first, we'll start with girls basketball. I'm hoping to get upstairs before this happens, but this is their senior night, which is pretty exciting. We're honoring seniors Angelica Bajena Calderon, Danielle Huertas, and Julia Rodriguez. And I want to say thank you to all our coaches who always find ways to recognize our senior athletes, especially those who have played for their first time for all 4 years of high school. They put in their time, their effort, their money to make sure that our senior students feel honored, and so I appreciate that. The girls have not had a win this season, but they continue to improve, and this is due to the coaching of Coach Zambrano and Coach Robinson, who have worked very, very hard with them. The boys basketball game is away today. Their senior night will be on Friday, February 2nd, and they are currently 3-0 in conference, so that's exciting. The girls girls bowling is in a tough race for first place in their conference. Their senior night will be at the bowling alley Fireside Bowl on Monday, January 22nd. And boys bowling ended already, but we want to say congratulations to senior Brandon Solis, who made the CPL City Bowling Championships. Brandon placed 46 out of more than 100 bowlers in only his second year ever bowling. So it's pretty exciting. Brandon is a multi-season athlete and just an all-around great kid. So we're really happy that our coaches, Coach Rosa and Coach Valdespino, have worked so hard with our kids. And I do want to take a moment and address the situation with buses. The option of having school buses to games was offered to the coaches, and they opted to do CTA instead. We got them venture cards, but the buses were offered. And from what I understand, it was discussed amongst the players and the coaches, and they thought that this was an easier response, especially because some of the kids get picked up from the bowling alley after the game, so it was just easier to do one way. If this is something that is an issue going forward, we're more than happy to make sure that our student athletes always have safe transportation. So I apologize, and I wish that this had been made known sooner, as opposed to with only one game left in the season. But we can certainly, if we believe that this is an issue, we can certainly book a bus for that last game. So I want to make sure that that is clear. The safety of our athletes getting to and from athletic events is primary, and so I just want to point that out. Budgetary items, the freshman boys basketball and sophomore boys basketball teams just ordered brand new uniforms. They're pretty swanky, and we're waiting eagerly for them to come in. So they were much needed and well deserved. For fundraising, we've been doing digital ticketing. That's why I was late getting down here. So far in 4 games, we have earned $346.67 in ticket sales. It's a strange number, I know, plus $75 in season tickets, for a total of $421.67. And the girls' games, they don't make quite as much, $216.70 with one season ticket holder, $25. It's been $241, so that's great. We do not charge our own students to get into the game, but they do get a ticket. That way we can track them through digital ticketing, through hometown ticketing, so we know who is at the games and who's not. Again, we have 3 season ticket holders for boys, which is cool. They can buy tickets at a lesser price, and they get a ticket free for every game. And we have 1 for the girls basketball team. Ticketing reports, just so we're clear, for audit purposes, are sent to both the principal and the budget manager after every game immediately. So those are submitted. We do not accept cash, so there are no cash reports or receipts to submit. And it's worked out pretty well. We have a few people who can't figure out how to use the QR code. We have a few, but it's getting smoother, and across the city, probably about 40 to 50% of the schools are actually using hometown ticketing. It is the CPS platform, has been approved by the LSC, and we're happy to be doing that. Also for budgeting, the scorers table issue, CPS said that we had to have somebody paid, no children could work the clock, the scoreboard, or the scorebook. We were lucky that Northwest Center was kind enough to give us an employee that they pay for, who has been doing our scorebook. His name is Rayshawn Griffin, former student, delightful. He's doing a great job. And the other positions of scoreboard and clock have been done through volunteers. So between different, and I want to say thank you to Coaches Polonitz, Coach Rolando, Coach Valdespino, Mr. DeJesus, and especially Coach Urquizo, who comes to every single game. They are there out of season to help our teams out, so that because we just don't have money to pay people for those, they volunteer, and myself. The kids have also earned money through Northwestern, through ROTC. The following teams have raised the following amounts of money. Girls basketball made $1,800. Boys basketball combined almost $2,000. Football almost $600. Flag football $510, all of which was used for their officials. Girls volleyball $1,300 and baseball $1,300. So it's pretty awesome. We're unfortunately probably not going to be able to use them next year because the stadium will be rebuilt for Northwestern, so they probably won't be fully hosting these. So that's a problem. Bus situation, currently fall season, we spent $9,035 on buses. Winter season, if we don't have to book any further buses for playoffs, we will have to spend $8,790, which leaves about $22,000 to get through spring season, which covers baseball, softball, girls soccer, boys volleyball, boys and girls track, and girls badminton. But I think we'll be fine. We should be able to make it through that amount of money. We do still have some coaching vacancies, so I'm getting closer to filling them all for this year. We're looking for sophomore boys volleyball, an assistant varsity girls softball coach, and girls badminton. And then all coaches had to reapply for athletic coaching positions for 24-25 next school year. As of yet, there's been no word as to what's going on with that, how many applications were received, where are still vacancies, and what the interview process will be. So no word has come through about that, but I'm looking forward to that happening soon. And then lastly, I would like to say, with all due respect, as an athletic director for the past 17 years, I would very much like for this administration to allow me to be of help to you. A lot of decisions have been made this year that do not involve me, do not involve the coaches, and they directly reflect athletics. And so I'm asking, please, when decisions are made, please allow us to have inputs and to help, to allow us to use the expertise that we have. And this includes things like making decisions about facilities, about locking things up, about when and how spectators can be at games. Let us be of assistance. All we want to do is help and make our athletic programs the best that they can be. And so I ask that respectfully. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We move on to student report.
Hello, I'm Divine. Sorry. And I'm going to be speaking on behalf of the Students SBC. It's the club in our school to help improve the students' experience within high school. As of right now, they really want to work on fundraisers, not confirmed exactly what day or when. Hopefully, when more information comes out, I can provide more information. But they want to allow more fundraisers so we can provide the girls with menstrual products. And we also want to help, we want a greater routine for the bathrooms to be cleaned. Because during the days, once it gets to like third period, it starts looking really disgusting and unusable. So we would really like it if staff could try to clean it more often, probably just like once between the day, like fourth period. That would be great. And yeah.
Thank
Sorry,
you. Thank you very much. The BAC report.
So I have the BAC share. The BAC attended the SEL parent workshop on 12/18. It was hosted in 128. We had a guest speaker, and the parents learned about social emotional learning and how to support their students as they're coming back to high school. But it was facilitated by a presenter, and the parents were here, and it was led by the parents. But that's the topic that they chose for their meeting.
Thank you. The PAC.
The PAC is hosted, and so they also joined after the second part, which was the same presenter, which is Dr. Fernie Ramirez. They love this presenter, so they've asked for him to come back. He connected with the parents. I think he made some parents cry from he's so good, and I've heard great things about him from different families and different backpacks that have. So they're requesting for him to come back to present to the parents, more workshops from him. So it's exciting to hear that the parents connected with a facilitator and that the information was well received. And there was a lot about accountability as parents. What is their role in education? What is their role in raising? The onus isn't only on the school, but the onus is on the parent as well. And what can they do to support their students' experience at school? And how do they support that at home? From they were sharing with me. So we're excited to bring him back, of course. And he's willing to come back.
Thank you. PPLC report?
We don't have a report this month. We didn't meet because we meet the first week and we're on break.
Okay.
So.
Okay, thank you. The improvement CIWP.
Yeah, so we had our CIWP. We have 3 priorities: curriculum and instruction, inclusive and supportive learning, connectedness, and well-being. And we are on track with our Q1 progress monitor. So we have to progress monitor the CIWP every quarter. So what we've included is snapshots of progress monitor. So here are all the implementation milestones and action steps and where we are with progress in terms of making sure that 100% of our teachers, coordinators, and classroom support staff will be trained in Skyline, IB, STEAM, AP, JROTC, CTE curriculum. So you'll see that that's still in progress. We completed our week 0 IB, STEAM, AP trainings. We're still working on additional trainings that are CT, JROTC, because those are yearly. They work out throughout the year. CP, AP coordinators, she attended her training. Skyline goes every quarter. And then we meet as an SLT to also learn with each other and talk about units and how we can support the ILT and all of the different departments. So you can see here that we met as a team and we listed out the progress monitor who's responsible. We've completed 2 cycles of learning so far with Marzano, 2 full day PDs, and we're entering into our cycle of learning with cognitive demand. And what does that mean in the classroom? What is the support that the teachers need to make sure that they're providing a robust experience in the classroom when it comes to teaching and learning? And then what does it mean for the task and aligning the work to our IB units and Skyline? The departments have been reading their books. So teaching, the new art of teaching and science and learning. So being understanding that as times have changed, students evolve, things are a little bit different. And how do we continue to grow as professionals and those instructional practices in the classroom so that we have a pulse of what's current with our students. I mean, of course, there's things that work that we've done all the time, but they're thinking about how do we also grow as educational leaders in our classroom to make sure that we're also keeping in touch with our students and their learning styles and modalities. So that's been an ongoing process. So that was for curriculum and instruction. In terms of inclusive and supportive learning, our MTSS team continues to develop processes and procedures with supporting documentation for staff. So we completed all of our week 0 requirements in terms of the CIWP and what the MTSS team was tasked. We are learning the world of progress monitoring and branching minds. It's a learning curve because the system sometimes works with us and what it doesn't. But we are one of the few schools that have really thought about how to MTSS for our EL students. So we have received an influx of migrant students, both Arabic, Ukrainian, and Spanish speakers that don't speak English. So what we're doing is we're able to assess students both in English and Spanish and reading and math. So we're able to determine if it's a tier 2 issue or if it's just language acquisition. So we're able to identify the reading levels of students in their native language. So we know if they're reading at grade level, but they're learning English, that is not a tier 2 issue. Then they're not struggling with comprehension. They're learning a new language. So how do we leverage their reading practices within their native language that are transferable skills into English? So we've been able to assess all of our EL students, at least as they're coming in. And so we have an understanding of how they're doing both in Spanish and in English. So we've been building that out with our ELPT and the MTSS team. We're always growing as how does that inform our culture and climate referral processes? And what's the bandwidth? Because we only have 1 reading and 1 math interventionist. So thinking about where do we prioritize and what students do we target based on their data. And then here are more of the milestones and that incorporation of PAC and BAC. So we are holding true to making sure that we're honoring the trainings that the parents have requested. And how does that lend itself with MTSS? So thinking about what the support look like at home and at school. And then connectedness and well-being. So we have been working on creating clear school-wide expectations around school connectedness and well-being. We are part of the TIERS grant. So we do get district-wide support from our network specialists from both OSCL, which is our social emotional learning department, and student discipline department. So they have regular check-ins with our district specialists, both downtown and at the network, in terms of our data, in terms of school-wide expectations, and everything that we do when it comes to student discipline, and making sure that we are carrying out our Tier 1 SEL instruction and practices. Mr. De Jesus and Ms. Ocampo completed the first cycle of learning on the SEL standards. So that was the big ask of the CIWP team, is to make sure that we unpack that with our staff. And so now our staff were able to learn that there's 5 standards. They learned about what each standard means and what does that look like for students, what does that look like for teachers, and how do we teach those SEL standards. So we've completed 1 cycle of SEL, and now that we have the Cultivate data, which is the student experience, we're infusing that data to inform, like, okay, from that training, what transferred into the classroom? Do we have to go back? How do we leverage the IoT to support that work? What is going to be meaningful for teachers in terms of bringing that practice into the classroom that our students are going to report feeling connected to the classroom and to the teachers and to their community, to their peers. So we do take that data very seriously. So the student perspective data. So we appreciate when the students do complete it because we unpack it as an ILT, we unpack it at the network level, we unpack it as an admin team, and we really do think about, we did all this work, and if our students are still not feeling connected, what do we need to do to go back, and how do we talk to the teachers to make sure that we're listening to them, to make sure that the strategies are transferring into the classroom. If that didn't work, okay, teachers tell us, let's hear from the ILT, let's hear from the teachers to support the experience in the classroom. So it's something that we are taking back in terms of the cultivate data. And today as an ILT, we met and we unpacked it. And what does that mean for SEL? What does it mean for the MTSS team? What does it mean for us as a leadership team to make sure that it's making it to the classroom? So we do have reflective conversations about all this work. And now the biggest part is the adult SEL. So it's something that we've been thinking about. And so we've been thoughtful about creating adult SEL experiences. We started the Steinmetz Connection in Action. So we focused on the new to Steinmetz staff. So during our staff PD days, they have these activities with the admin team and our new teacher mentor, and they walk to Starbucks, but there's an intent to the walk to Starbucks, or they walk around the community. They want to get to know Belmont Cragen and the school that they support and learning the community. So they do walk to the library and the mall, but also they engage in activities where they get to know each other. So that's been highly well received by the staff. They love it. Get so many pictures because I can't go right now, but I get the pictures back. We took the ILT for a bonding experience over a buffet, which was fun. And in terms of making connections with our IT. So now we're thinking about how do we expand it to now our other staff. So we're piloting it and seeing what does that mean and what does it mean for the culture and climate team and how do they execute that with the bandwidth that they have. So where are we now? So we completed a landscape walk with the network 14. So a landscape walk means the network comes, they visit classrooms at random. There's a tool that they use. They give us yes, no, partial on all of those 15 indicators. We attended the Fall I Institute, so those are mandatory for us. We attend those. We talk about rigor, peer observation, safe practice cycles, and our Marzano book study. And we bring it back to our ILT departments and grade level teams. And this is just some of the stuff this is what the tool looks like, just to give you a snapshot of the landscape walk. The classrooms that we visited, how many, was it partial, yes, no, and then they do it again, and the goal is to see growth over time. So the two indicators that they look at, standards-based student evidence, is standards-aligned learning target provided to the students, and the second indicator is the evidence of student learning aligned to the learning target. So that was our landscape walk, so you can see that it was partial, it was somewhat there, yes, no, it wasn't evident, and so we bring this back to the ILT, and how do we ensure that the ILT, the department chairs of the ILT are taking this data back to make sure that at the next visit, we get yes on more indicators. But they've expanded. It went from 2 look-fors to 15 in the last one. So yeah, so they do visit your classroom for 15 minutes with 15 indicators. So our departments, they visit each other, so they practice with each other as well. So keep in mind that there is a cycle of learning that happens within the departments. We also do action plans as an ILT. We look at the data. We think about strengths, weaknesses, opportunity, and threats. And then we think about action plans, guiding questions, and how do we support success of our students? What are the strategies that we need to bring into the classroom to drive this work forward? And that's just an example of what we do for our CIWP. So I know it was a lie. It's because it was Q1 progress monitoring. So I have to go. I'll be this in depth when we do Q2, because we have to present to the network our updates too. So it won't be as comprehensive until we have our Q2 progress monitoring.
Yeah, I was going to say our next is principal's report. I didn't know if that was the whole report.
That just gives you the depth of progress monitoring. So one of the things that we do, no. So one of the things that part of our school that we have to do is we have to update. So the network says you have to update your progress. You meet with your CA, you update, and then you have to present to your chief, deputy, and the entire network leadership team. And then, so everyone here are all the APs, and we present and then we have to update it, and then we bring it to the ILT and so forth.
Okay.
So now, sorry.
Now can we go to the principal's report?